Millions of American drivers are paying right now for extended warranties that will deny their next claim. Last year, the FTC fined one of the most advertised warranty companies in the country $10 million and mailed checks to over 168,000 drivers who were left with a repair bill instead of the coverage they paid for. If you have a warranty sitting in your glove box, there's a real chance it's built to say no. Subscribe, because knowing which 5 to avoid could save you thousands. Here are the 5 worst, and the 2 that actually pay out. CarShield. CarShield is the most advertised extended warranty company in America, and in 2024, the Federal Trade Commission made something else official about it too. CarShield and its administrator agreed to pay $10 million to settle FTC charges that their advertising was deceptive and misleading. The commission mailed refund checks to 168,179 drivers and stated plainly that the company left many customers with a financial headache instead of the peace of mind it sold them. But here's what makes this criminal. The FTC's own complaint describes advertising that led people to believe engine and transmission repairs would be covered, while the actual contracts carried exclusion lists that blocked coverage in most real-world breakdowns. That gap between the commercial and the contract is the entire basis of a federal enforcement action, not a misunderstanding. Picture the driver this happens to. A pickup owner buys a CarShield plan at around $100 a month. 2 years in, the transmission starts slipping. A failed torque converter, a repair north of $3,000. The adjuster rules the failure doesn't meet the threshold for that specific plan tier and offers a few $100s in goodwill. The owner has now paid roughly $2,500 in premiums to get $400 back and still has to cover the rest himself. Ohio-based ASE certified shops that process these claims will tell you the pattern repeats constantly. Consumer Reports has long warned that third-party contracts like these are loaded with exclusions and that most buyers would come out ahead banking the premium instead. At $2,500 in premiums for a $400 payout, that's a net loss before the repair even starts. But the next one on this list costs you even more because you finance it. The dealer, finance office, warranty. The most expensive extended warranty you'll ever buy isn't sold in a commercial. It's sold to you in a small room at the end of a long day, after you've already spent hours buying the car and your guard is completely down. The warranty slipped into your paperwork. After the price is agreed, carries a markup that industry auditors put far above what the identical coverage costs anywhere else. Here's how the math works against you. A dealer can buy a service contract from a third-party provider for several $100s, then present it in the finance office for $2,000 to $3,000. The difference is pure back-end profit, and extended warranties are one of the single largest contributors to the profit a dealership makes per vehicle, a number that runs into the thousands industry-wide. But here's what makes this the most dangerous entry on the list. You're not just paying the markup, you're financing it. Roll a $2,800 warranty into a 6-year loan at a typical rate, and the real cost pushes toward $4,000 by the time it's paid off, for coverage often identical to a plan you could buy directly for a fraction of that. Think of the family that bundles a $3,000 warranty into a new SUV loan. Months after the factory warranty ends, the AC compressor fails. Then they discover a clause requiring every repair to be done at that one dealership service department, booked out for weeks. They use an independent certified shop instead, and the claim is denied on that technicality. Now they've paid for the warranty and the repair. The one time it was needed, it delivered nothing, and the contract you never fully read is exactly how the next company on this list operates. Endurance. Endurance markets itself as a direct provider that administers its own claims. No middleman. That sounds like a feature. But the complaint records tell a different story. Drivers denied for pre-existing wear and tear on vehicles that cleared the mandatory waiting period months earlier, and a cancellation process built to be difficult. Here's the mechanism. A sales rep verbally confirms coverage on the purchase call. The written contract contains an exclusion for gradual deterioration and normal wear. When a claim arrives, the adjuster cites the written exclusion, not the verbal promise. And verbal representations generally aren't binding, so the customer has no recourse. But here's what makes it predatory. Buyers report explicitly telling the rep the car was used, asking directly whether a breakdown would be covered, being told yes, and then being denied months later for pre-existing wear. And when they try to cancel, some are told the cancellation form has to be signed in front of a notary public. A notary to get out of a warranty. Picture a truck owner paying around $190 a month. The water pump fails. Denied as normal wear. The power steering rack fails. denied as progressive deterioration. He files with his state attorney general and eventually settles for a few $100s against thousands in repairs, after paying thousands more in premiums. Endurance at least has a legal presence and a paper trail. The next company on this list is one that regulators say collected premiums it was never licensed to collect. Brokered plans, the accountability gap. Some of the most trusted-looking warranty sellers aren't warranty companies at all. They're brokers. They carry high ratings and partnerships with big-name car sites, so they look like the gold standard. But when you buy a brokered plan, the coverage, the claims processing, and the payout decision are handled by a completely separate administrator. The broker collects your payment. Someone else decides whether your claim gets paid. That split creates an accountability gap, and it works against you every time. The broker can say they acted in good faith. The administrator can say the claim didn't meet the contract terms. You're stuck between two companies, neither of which has any incentive to approve, and the repair shop already knows to lower your expectations when the authorization comes through. But here's what makes brokered plans specifically alarming. Documented cases show a customer paying thousands of dollars for a plan, then filing a legitimate claim on a failed fuel pump worth well over $1,000 to repair, and the administrator approving a tiny fraction, sometimes under $200, by insisting on wholesale parts pricing instead of what the shop actually charges. Receiving pennies on the dollar isn't the exception with these plans, it's the structure, and the accountability gap only gets worse when the company on the other end has no license and no reserves at all, which is exactly number 1. Unlicensed third-party warranties. The worst extended warranty you can buy isn't one that denies your claim. It's one that takes your premiums, runs out of money, and disappears before your car does. This is the unlicensed corner of the industry. Companies that sell vehicle service contracts across state lines without a license and without a backup insurer holding reserves to pay claims. State insurance regulators have issued cease and desist orders against operators exactly like this, for selling illegal service contracts, improperly denying claims, and failing to maintain the insurer required to actually cover repairs. By the time regulators move, some of these companies have already stacked up hundreds of unanswered complaints and an F rating, and customers who paid thousands find the phone simply goes unanswered. Here's the part that should worry every driver. The failure of one company exposes a flaw regulators say still exists across the market today. Plenty of similar operations run without backup insurance, without licensed status where they sell, and without reserves. They're reachable the moment you pay. They're untraceable the moment you claim. Imagine paying $60-something a month for well over a year, then filing your first real claim and finding the line disconnected, the cease and desist already issued, the complaints already piling up, your money already gone. Every cent went to a company regulators had determined was operating illegally. That is the worst possible outcome an extended warranty can hand you. Now, the two companies that actually do what all 5 of these only promised. Before we get to the 2 that actually pay out, hit subscribe right now, because what you're about to hear about, where the smart money buys coverage, contradicts everything a finance office will ever tell you. Olive is what an extended car warranty should have been from the start. No waiting period, no pushy phone calls, no exclusions written to deny your exact failure. You quote online, buy online, and coverage activates the next day. The company has sold vehicle service contracts for over a decade, backed by a globally licensed insurance carrier with the reserves regulators require to actually pay claims. Here's why that backing is the whole game. A regulated insurance carrier is required by law to hold reserves sufficient to pay out. When you file, that carrier pays the repair shop directly. Not a broker, not a middleman, who then disputes the labor rate. The shop gets paid at real retail cost. And that is the difference between a token payout and a repair that's actually covered. But here's what makes Olive the most transparent option in this whole industry. The sample contracts are posted publicly on the website, not hidden behind a sales call. You can read every exclusion before you spend $1, and on the full plan, the exclusions list is shorter than the coverage list. That is the exact opposite of every company in the avoid section. Picture the difference in practice. An SUV owner on a plan around $100 a month has the AC compressor and condenser fail, over $1,600 at a certified shop. The shop calls the carrier directly. The claim is approved in hours. The owner pays a small deductible, and the carrier pays the rest straight to the shop. No fight. The car's ready the next day. For roughly what a dealer charges in monthly interest alone on a bundled warranty, you get coverage that actually pays. But if your car is older or higher mileage, the #1 pick changes everything. Concierge Managed Coverage, AutoPalm. The best structure in this entire test is the one where the warranty company negotiates with the repair shop for you. You don't call the warranty company, then the shop, then the warranty company again. A concierge team handles every conversation until your car is fixed and the bill is paid. And that structure matters more than any coverage tier or exclusion list. Here's why. The single biggest failure point in warranty claims isn't what's covered. It's who controls the approval and whether they're built to approve. Third-party companies exploit the confusion between the shop, the administrator, and the customer to create the delays that turn into denials by default. The shop gives up, and you pay. When one team manages the authorization call directly, there's no communication gap left to exploit. But here's what makes the concierge model the most valuable pick for older and high-mileage vehicles specifically. The strongest concierge providers carry no mileage cap, while most competitors cut you off at 150,000 or 200,000 miles. For drivers of trucks and SUVs that routinely cross 150,000 miles with years of life left. That's the difference between having coverage and having a piece of paper. Imagine a truck owner near 150,000 miles when the transfer case fails, a repair approaching $3,000. The concierge team calls the shop, confirms the diagnosis and the labor rate, and authorizes the same day. The shop is paid directly, the owner covers a modest deductible, and someone actually calls him to confirm the car is done. Compare that to the CarShield outcome earlier. Thousands in premiums for a few hundred back. That difference isn't luck. It's whether the company was built to pay or built to profit from not paying. A warranty that denies your claim isn't cheaper than no warranty. You paid the premiums and the repair bill. Who decides your claim? A regulated insurer or a commission-hungry broker? Is everything. Has a warranty ever denied a claim it should have covered? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. Next, the dealer add-on that costs $1,800 and protects nothing. Thanks for watching.